allege that Sandra Birchmore survived years of grooming, statutory rape, and then sexual violence, all at the hands of Matthew Farwell, who was employed throughout their relationship as an officer and then detective for the Stoughton Police Department.
Welcome back to Opening Statements. I'm Julia Janae, filling in for Julie Grant this morning. Thank you for being with us. This morning, we are giving a voice to the victims as we share a stunning development that was revealed this week in the murder of 23-year-old Sandra Birchmore. DNA tests show that the former police detective who's accused of killing her did not father her unborn child. Birchmore was found dead in her Canton, Massachusetts apartment back in 2021. Her death originally ruled a suicide, but later authorities arrested Matthew Farwell for her murder, alleging Farwell had been sexually exploiting Birchmore since she was 15 years old. She had been part of the police department's youth program, Explorer program. The theory had been that Farwell allegedly killed Birchmore because she was pregnant with his child. And at the time of the murder, Farwell was married with children of his own, with a baby on the way from his wife. It's unclear if the baby's father has been identified now that it has been shown that the child that Sandra Birchmore mothered was not belonging to Farwell, the suspect in this case. So we're wondering, does that all change anything? Joining us now to talk about this is Claudia King, a domestic violence expert and former law enforcement officer. And we also have still with us attorney Joe Tamburino. Joe, let's first talk about the legal side of this. Could this new revelation at all impact the case against Farwell?
I think it would only have a slight impact, and here's why. The issue for motive is, did Farwell believe that he was the father of the child? Did he think that obviously as soon as she gives birth, the jig is up and everything's going to come out about their relationship? Everything's going to come out about he was supposedly charged with that he's been having sex with her since she was approximately 15, 16 years of age. So it is a factor in the case, but I don't really think it's going to change the prosecution much.
Claudia, can we talk about how this even happens? It took 3 years before Farwell was even arrested. This was originally ruled a suicide. What's the process for police in extracting DNA from an unborn child?
Yeah, so it would definitely be something that would happen during the autopsy, most likely, and they would pull that DNA, whether it would be tested immediately or to be held to be tested at a later time, and then they would have compared that with Farwell's DNA to determine if he was the father. Like you, I'm not sure if they tested other people's DNA to determine who is the father or if they just determined that he is not the father. So I don't know where we're at with that side of the process.
And Claudia, just a follow-up, how do you think this impacts Farwell's case, or how police would have looked at him if they had known about the DNA early on? Does it change anything? Because we do have that surveillance video of someone who appears to be him going into her apartment around the time of what initially was thought that she took her own life, and now it has been ruled a murder.
Yeah, that video is huge. Absolutely. If that didn't exist, we might be in a different place. And, you know, I agree that this revelation about the DNA may not have a big impact because it does come down to what the defendant believed, but it gives them a little kernel of hope that maybe now they have an alternate suspect that they can point to. I don't think that's going to work, but it's probably the only Hail Mary that they have at this point.
Joe, talking about state of mind, we know there was that text message that Sandra sent to Farwell where she was elated about having a child with him. This picture here, congrats, we are going to be parents. It's something that no doubt the defense in this case, I mean, not the defense, rather the Commonwealth in this case is going to be using, and the defense is going to have to combat when they talk about what was in his mind.
That's correct. And this is going to bring up another legal issue, because I'm sure the defense is going to object that this is completely hearsay. I mean, she is the decedent. She's not here for trial, obviously. But I'm sure what the Commonwealth is going to argue is that this is completely an effect on the listener, meaning what she said had X, Y, and Z effect on the defendant, Mr. Farwell. So, yeah, that is going to be a crucial piece of evidence, because one of the things that the prosecutor prosecution is going to argue is this is what set all of the things in motion that led to her being murdered.
Claudia, this is one of those cases that has been spoken of in the same breath with Karen Reed because of the locality, because it involves police officers. Sandra Birchmore herself from the Canton area, and we have this, the Stoughton Police Department that was investigated for not just Farwell exploiting Birchmore, but potentially other issues that were similar. Talk about that part of it when it comes to this case and what that could even be like for a jury pool for Farwell.
Yeah, it's definitely going to make the jury pool aspect difficult. You know, I think it's going to be one of those cases that everybody's familiar with. And it's unfortunate that this small area has what seems to be several police officers acting in a manner that they shouldn't. But what's fortunate is that it's coming to light so that now the Commonwealth has the opportunity to not only get justice for Sandra Birchmore, but also hopefully these departments can make changes going forward for the good of the entire area and those communities that they serve.
Claudia King, domestic violence expert. We appreciate your time. I know we have to say goodbye to you, but thank you for being on. Joe is going to be back in our 9 o'clock hour, so stand by. We do want to take this opportunity to remember Sandra Birchmore, the voice for victims that we always want to give. She was 23 years old when she was killed, pregnant with her first child. Friends say she was excited to become a mother.